Oi, 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 YouTube. It's good to see you. Be sure you unclench your jaw, you get your water. All right, we're here, we're settled in. Today we're going to be reacting to a brand new post made by BHVR Interactive on their Dead by Daylight Twitter account, and they're going to be talking about cheating. They say an update on cheating. Now, I want to go into this without judging too hard, without preconceptions, and we're going to see what they have to say. Okay, so they say an update on cheating. Cheating is an ongoing battle in any online game, and Dead by Daylight is no exception. There is a never-ending arms race between game developers and cheat makers to find and fix new vulnerabilities. Tackling these vulnerabilities has always been and will remain a top priority to us. Lately, many of you have shared your experiences playing against cheaters, and we have no intention to leave you in the dark. First and foremost, we're abundantly aware of the ongoing situation, and we have been treating it very seriously. To put it bluntly, cheating sucks, and while we have made many measures to prevent it, it frustrates us just as much as you to hear that someone ruined your experience. We tend to stay quiet when it comes to cheating to avoid giving cheat developers vital information. But given recent events, we've decided to pull back the curtain and shed some light on what we've been doing to combat cheating and what we'll be working on moving forward. But please forgive any vague language in this post. We cannot share any information which could be used to make it easier to cheat. So I think this is really important. Just I want to dive into this like little concept here is like the more they talk about cheating, and we talked about this in a video, is the more they talk about cheating, the more that cheaters crack their knuckles and go, bring it on, we're ready. And so the moves they make have to be quiet and underneath the surface, right? So I understand that it's a very tough balance. And I'm very glad that they're coming out to say something, because that does risk retaliation on the I guess the part of cheat makers, but they are more concerned with us. So how we deal with cheaters: 200,000 cheaters banned, 50,000 so far this year alone. So it's a relatively, I mean, if you look at the landscape of Dead by Daylight, how many concurrent players you have, it's not a low number. But you know, if you consider like what the average players that we have now on Steam and things like that, because that's Steam and Epic, those are where the cheaters are obviously coming from. It doesn't happen on PlayStation and stuff like that. So they say in Dead by Daylight, we have zero tolerance for cheaters. Once we detect someone is cheated or is trying to cheat, their account is permanently banned from the game. There are a few ways we address cheats. Automated bans. We work with our anti-cheat partner, Easy Anti-Cheat, to report and track new cheats. If the anti-cheat detects one of these being used, they're automatically banned. In-game countermeasures. We make changes to both the game client and dedicated servers to prevent cheaters from doing certain things. This lessens the impact of cheats and reduces the amount of damage they can do. Manual bans. We investigate your reports and manually block cheaters. This is crucial when a new cheat has not yet been tracked by anti-cheat. Before we move on, I don't doubt that some of this exists. I don't doubt that automated bans roll out to some degree, and I don't doubt that in-game countermeasures sort of exist. They say we make changes both to the in-game client and dedicated servers. I'm interested in like how, not if that's true or not, because I think that's irrelevant, but like that would indicate to me that what we've talked about recently with dedicated server-side logic checks and things like that to check the maximum speed of gens or the maximum speed of this, or, you know, a gen shouldn't pop in the first 3 seconds. That should flag something on a server, right? I'm not a developer. Most of you guys, I would say 99% of you guys are not developers, but, you know, as a non-developer, this is interesting because while they say this, it doesn't feel like this. If somebody is flying, or if somebody a gen is done in 3 seconds, that these things don't make sense. So game clients are easier to break than dedicated servers should be. So like they shouldn't be getting into servers. So server side checks aren't tough enough. I don't know. We're gonna move on. All right. In the last 7 days alone, we have banned over 2,000 cheaters, contributing to a total of over 200,000 banned over the lifetime of the game. That's over 6 years. But of course, for the first like 2 years of DBD, it's a very small player pool, so they weren't probably banning that many people, you know, for the first 2 or 3 years. Additionally, we have continued to expand our team and processes to deal with cheaters more efficiently. There's still work to be done, but our team has made considerable efforts to strengthen various aspects of the game, such as preventing modification to certain game files, to block specific avenues for cheaters to exploit, and lessen the impact of cheats that surface. Okay. So let's take a look at this. The big thing that they say, future improvements, right? So fixed various vulnerabilities that has happened sort of so far right now. Fall 2022 player sniping prevention, that was like, hiding your names so that you can't be stream sniped, and things like that. Anonymous modes. Fall 2022 additional failsafes. I don't think this has happened yet. Is that accurate? Early 2023 improved support tools. Is that just a better ticketing tool? I don't know. Early 2023 player report feedback. So this is interesting. Early 2023 behavior would essentially, if we report an account and it gets banned, we would get feedback that tells us like, hey, thanks for the report, that account was banned, or we took action on that account. That's one of the biggest things that they really need to add. The general perception in the community right now is, hey, the reports don't matter. And I hear that time and time again. I know that's not true because I track who I report on Steam and I check their accounts every month or so. And if they didn't have a VAC ban, and then they do get a VAC ban, or they, but a lot of people, they don't even bother to report. I was in a match the other day with somebody. They were the survivor. I was the killer. Another survivor was hacking. Once it was all said and done, I DM'd the other survivor, or the one of the survivor players that was just on the team, and I was like, "Did you report?" And he's like, "No, it doesn't do anything." Like, people just don't report because they think it doesn't do anything. This should have been a feature years ago. And I talked about it, is like when they rolled out behavior accounts on the website, they should have forced everybody that plays this game to have a behavior account, just like Blizzard has you have a Blizzard account, so that you get feedback after you report somebody. And you could see a history of your reports and a history of actions taken. Like, this would have made sense. So I'm glad they're doing it. It's a little delayed, but and then they say beyond continued support. So going forward, we plan to further bolster the game against cheaters. This will be done in various ways. First, we will continue to identify and fix vulnerabilities to limit the effects of cheats. This includes additional measures to prevent players sniping, forcefully joining a specific player's lobby. The first version of this fix is currently slated for this fall, and we'll continue to monitor the situation to ensure that it does not resurface. Fixes like these will be an ongoing process. Now, I have it on very, very good authority that there is a list of broadcasters that sort of exists somewhere, that has like their cloud IDs. If you're not aware, cloud IDs in Dead by Daylight, you could change your name on your account as many times as you want. Your cloud ID is static and never changes. And I believe that our cloud IDs as players, as broadcasters, people are using that to find us in lobbies, or to sieve through lobbies to find people. I don't get sniped, but people like spookyloopz, otzdarva, other big broadcasters, I'm sure, do. Second, we'll be adding failsafes to commonly exploited portions of the game. For example, should a match ever continue beyond the endgame collapse for longer than 5 minutes, the game will forcibly end. This is huge. This is what spookyloopz was talking about. I wonder how effective this is going to be, because again, the client side can be hacked. So if the client, if client side stuff can be hacked, does it send a signal to the server that closes the server? And if it sends a signal to the server, can that signal be hacked or circumnavigated? I'm very interested in that, but I have faith. I don't want to be cynical. This is good. Additionally, the max game time will be reduced from 2 hours to 1 hour or less. This particular change is planned for this Q4 2020, so this should come out before we enter 2023. This is good. And then they say further measures are being explored. They say, third, we will continue to implement server-side validation where possible. This is what we were talking about. Good. This takes authority away from a cheater's game client, what we've talked about, and puts it on a dedicated server, making cheating much more difficult. This is an ongoing process. So we've talked about this is good. The server, which cannot be hacked, right? Servers can't be hacked, but that's not what these cheaters are doing. They're downloading a program that is affecting the client that they are running the game on. And so if, like I said, if the server is checking that, because, the client sends data to the server, if the server is like, hey, what just happened in this match right now? Those checks will be very important. That's good. I don't know how they work in specificity, but they say, fourth, we have improvements in the works for both our player support tools to better deal with cheats internally, and in-game report system to give you feedback on when a player you've reported was banned. That's super good. Player reports are a keystone of our cheat prevention measures, and are providing this feedback is essential to letting you know that your reports are being dealt with seriously. Beyond in-game improvements, we'll be communicating on our progress against cheats more regularly as part of our developer updates and beyond. We want to keep you in the loop and share as much information as we safely can. Last but not least, we want to stress that these are by no means the only measures we are working on, but rather the ones we can safely share with you. Yeah, I'm sure there are specific cheats that have been identified that they are going to try to like work around and things of that nature. But obviously, if you talk about that, then cheaters go, all right, sick. So they say, how can you help? While cheating will always be dealt with as swiftly as possible, your help is invaluable. There are a few ways you can help us in the fight against cheating. The best way to help is to use the in-game report system. These reports are critical and help us identify possible cheaters. If you have a video of someone cheating, you can also send it to our support team through this link. Please do that. I know it's such a pain in the ass. If you play on PlayStation, if you play on Xbox, both of those, PS4, PS5, Xbox, all of those, you should be able to record the past, minute up to 5 minutes on PlayStation. I think you can record like 30 minutes on PlayStation. I know that's a nightmare. I know it's tough. You can throw that on a USB stick, throw it on your laptop, and then upload that. I know it's a nightmare. But I would encourage you all to continue reporting people. I know you think it doesn't help, but I was held hostage yesterday, and that the cheater got banned, like, while I was in the match. So it happens. It can happen. So I know that we don't always have faith, but I would encourage you to just at least put your effort forward. Beyond reporting cheating you encounter, our support team is always available should you have any information on potential exploits or cheats. Fostering a safe, cheat-free experience in Dead by Daylight is and will always be a top priority for the team. As with any online game, cheating is an ongoing battle, and we remain committed to making cheating as difficult as possible. We have been working diligently to limit the number of impacts of cheats, and we hope that this post shared some insight into the work we've been doing behind the scenes. Going forward, we hope to keep you in the loop with regular communications. This is a big deal. So we've seen this update from BHVR Interactive probably over the course of 2022 with just a little bit more transparency about things that they are doing. I think they're finally coming around and learning that like the community is going to boil over if you don't say something, right? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So you better do and just put the intentionality out there, right? So here's the key takeaways from this right now, right? First, they're fixing vulnerabilities, right? They're trying to prevent stream sniping. They're aware of stream sniping being a huge problem, and that should be rolling out the soonest, primarily to help people like otzdarva and spookyloopz from being just constantly bombarded, right? Second, they're adding fail safes. So, matches are going to continue after endgame collapse for maybe 5 minutes, right? This kind of can become a problem because when I was held hostage yesterday, I wasn't in-game collapse. I got pushed against a wall, and then the hacker ended up putting themselves on a hook, and there was no end-game collapse, right? So there are some problems that need to be kind of looked at in a full 360-degree sort of, what else can be done, but they are looking at those things, right? So the end-game collapse, after that, the game will only go for 5 minutes. This is big. This is what we talked about. The server closing the game after certain detection is very good. They reduced the max game time from 2 hours to 1 hour. Now, this is how long it takes a server to timeout. If you sit in a match for an hour, the server will auto close no matter what. Again, this is good. I think it's a little wide. I don't know any DBD match that naturally lasts an hour. But it says from 2 hours to 1 hour or less. The other thing is server-side validation where possible, which means that this isn't always easy to do or possible for certain data or stats or things. But we've talked about this, all right? So we've talked about this thing. The thing that is important to know is that they don't talk about removing DC penalties. We've talked about this a lot. I understand that DC penalties, for some people, streamers specifically, like spookyloopz, you want to be able to DC whatever you want. I think the larger scale of the community, I think 70% of players are not experiencing cheaters or hackers super often, once a month or something like that. Maybe a lot of you guys in my comment section said you're not seeing it often. To take off DC penalties for everybody for an issue that's affecting honestly what I believe to be a smaller portion of the community, I think that creates a larger problem. I think that's a step too far. So I'm glad that DC penalties are not in the works for being removed and that they're actually tackling the core problems. A lot of people might say just remove them until they tackle the problems. Well, this is a year honestly 7-8 months of a plan. DC penalties being off for 7-8 months, I think, hurts the game more than cheating does at this point in time. So those are the general wrap-ups. Those are what I think. I think this is very solid. I'm very glad that they said something. I think a lot of people are gonna be cynical, and this is, if you are somebody being cynical right now, this is why Behavior doesn't like to say things, because at the end of the day, people aren't happy if they do, people aren't happy if they don't. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Of course, I will be praying to the entity to see you guys in the next video on Twitch or in our podcast.